Hello, I'm Scott Bogey here with your Fury FC flyweight, Micah White, ahead of his upcoming fight against Drake Lopez. How are you doing today?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. And how are you feeling ahead of this fight?
Feeling good, man. We're about 4 weeks out at this point, so camp's really ramped up, and we kind of hit a groove. So yeah, everything's feeling good.
And coming into this fight, what have been the main improvements in your game?
Uh, I think just in general, man, I had to get become a lot more selfish from my last fight. Um, since my last fight, I got married. So it's just kind of different stakes and different kind of point in my life. So just had to make some adjustments, kind of just in my life schedule and things, just to prioritize myself and my career. And yeah, I feel like it's gonna pay off big time.
And was there any, obviously the result last game didn't go your way, but was there anything that you kind of like surprised you with as in the fight?
Honestly, there wasn't much. He surprised me with it all. I mean, everything he had, I expected. I was just completely off that fight. It sucks. Everyone kind of has off nights in the office. I coach wrestling and I wrestled all 4 years in high school, and people have off matches all the time, but then they have 30 minutes or an hour to where they can wrestle again and wipe it off. Sadly, in MMA, we have to wait 3 to 6 months to get it back. So just an off night in the office, but hats off to Butler. I would love to run it back someday. I mean, not taking any credit away from him, but it was definitely just more of an off performance from me rather than a good performance from him.
Exactly. And you're going to come back and make a spectacular performance this coming fight. What
Yes,
do you
sir.
feel like is your main advantage in this fight?
Honestly, everything. I feel like I'm better than Drake everywhere. I've kept up with Drake for a long time. We fought back on the same card as, when we were amateurs.
Yeah,
So his name's always kind of been in the mix, and I've always been willing to fight him. So, now it's finally time where our names have matched up. But I just think I'm on a, higher level than him everywhere on the feet, on the ground, and the wrestling everywhere. So I definitely see him fading in this fight and me breaking him one way or another on the feet or on the ground. And yeah, I'm just ready to exploit that and show off my skills.
exactly. And this is your second fight of 2026. What are you looking for heading into the last half? Are you looking for two more fights to make it the four, or what are you just looking for?
Yeah, whatever happens, whatever makes sense for sure. One to two more without a doubt. Do this one, kind of enjoy summer a little bit while we prep for the next, and then depending on the one after this goes, we'll see if we can squeeze one more in before Christmas time and the end of the year, and yeah, we'll just kind of go from there.
And how has the gym been recently? Obviously, you got your fight, you've got Alden who's got his upcoming UFC fight, Joshua Vance just defended his belt. How is the atmosphere going right now?
Man, it's unmatched right now, man. The energy that we have in the room at 4 ounce is it's you can't even put it into words. Obviously having a world champion is one thing, but then just from top to bottom, man, we've really been doing some good things, from the amateur scene to the lower level pros to the higher level pros that are right on like kind of the verge, to obviously our pros that are in the UFC. I mean, we kind of just check all the boxes there, man. And we have a really good system that we've been implementing right now. And I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Exactly. And what do you feel like has been the main, obviously with the UFC guys like Alden and Joe Fan, you get to see like your level. But what has been the main bit of advice that they have given you, which has kind of showed you a little bit differently going into your fights?
I think just being able to see the work that they put in is very similar to the work that I'm putting in. I pretty much mimic uh, Joshua Van's schedule after that Pantoja fight for the most part. So being able to just have that clarity and that, just kind of, affirmation that what I'm doing is enough, is good enough. And then it's just about not questioning where I need to be or having any kind of doubts and just put head down and get to work. And I know it'll pay off. I have the skills and the talent to be what I want to be in the sport. It's just a matter of putting in the work. And, if it's God's plan that I get to where I want to be, then that's what's going to happen.
And while no one likes to take a defeat, at least you are fighting in a promotion like Fury, which does
Mhm.
like to offer events almost every single month. So you
Yep.
have it does benefit you being able to get back in as quickly as what you can do. Whereas in some promotions, you have to wait 4 months, 6 months to be able to just fight again. At least Fury does offer that opportunity to give you that matchup.
For sure, and I had some little energy injuries from my last fight. Again, got married, had honeymoon, and all that. So the timing of this works out well. I'm ready to rock. I think it times out well, and then hopefully we could be a little bit more, active after this one.
And how do you feel like that break in between has been for you? Because also, like you said, you got married, you've had your honeymoon, you've just had that time to just go away, relax, recharge batteries, and then you can just go full focus in there.
Yeah, man. It was good. Obviously, I would much rather have been able to do that off a
Yeah.
win. It would have made it a lot more enjoyable. But it's amazing, man. I'm so blessed. Being able to honestly, you know, it's easy from the immediate side of things to look at it as a negative, like kind of carrying that negative motion into there. But I think it's a positive in a different way of like it really just opens up your eyes to how blessed I really am. Like I live such an amazing life. I have such a amazing wife and family and support system, and none of that goes away after a loss. And my team, my coaches, my teammates, like everyone's the same, if not better and more supportive. So
Yeah.
I think everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. And, I was supposed to go through that. And, I think God's just going to bless me and make it that much more better coming forward.
And I think it kind of shows you exactly what your support system is. Obviously, when you're winning, everyone can just come at you, jump on the bandwagon. But it's when you actually suffer that defeat, you actually know who is actually there for you to be able to lean on. How good is it being able to find that, know who is there, and just be able to move forward, pick yourself up from being able to rely on them?
Yeah. I mean, it means everything. You know what I mean? Because it's, without God, without family, without that support system, life is really tough. It could become really lonely. So having those people have my back and knowing that they're there, win or lose, it means the world, man. It really truly does make the difference. And it just allows me to now be able to go out there and just fight my fight, no pressure, and that version of me is the best.
And how do you kind of analyze that flyweight division right now in the UFC? Obviously, you've got your teammate as the champion, but who do you feel like should be next for Van, and how do you kind of rate that division?
Who should Josh fight next? You're saying?
Yeah,
I think it's Pantoja for sure, man. I think obviously everything, all the doubts from their first fight. I think it should have been an immediate rematch. Obviously, things get a little different when injuries and stuff are involved in this case. And Josh, man, he has a hard time sitting on the couch. He's just an active fighter. He's been like that since he started fighting. So why change things up now just because you're the champion? But I am glad that he kind of gets to enjoy being champ, and without having to. I think he'll defend the belt for a long time, but being able to enjoy being a champ without having a date set on having to
yeah.
get back in there again, just truly be able to enjoy his family and enjoy his time. He's on vacation right now, and he deserves nothing but the best, man. So I'm glad he's able to experience that, and I definitely think Pantoja should be next for sure.
And you guys like to have that high activity work rate. You're always getting that next fight booked in, whether it's Alden Carrera in the UFC, yourself and Fury.
Yep.
Do you feel like having being this active as what you are, it is only benefiting you, keeping that competitive mindset in yourself activated?
Yeah, for sure, man. I think a part of it is just how we train. Like whether you're in camp or not, you're pretty much doing the same stuff in the gym, like at 4 ounce. Like they don't have separate practices for people who are out of camp pros. Like you show up to pro
Yeah,
class and you do class. So working that hard, it's like, man, like I'm working all this and I don't even have nothing coming up. Like might as well get something scheduled, make this worth it. You know what I mean? And then also just having a whole team that's super active. It's hard to be the only one sitting on the sidelines. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I truly do find joy in helping my teammates. I really take pride in that, of being a good teammate and a good partner and, a brother to these guys. And, I love helping however I can when I am not in camp, but it just gives you all that extra motivation to want to go ahead and have your own face on the poster and everyone kind of there to support you next.
And how was the atmosphere heading into Michael Adwell's last fight back in London? The co-main event, massive opportunity for him. Unfortunately, didn't go his way. But how was it being able to experience all that?
It's great, man. I think that was a great experience for Aswell. He's such a stud, man. He works so hard. And I love being able to see my teammates get those opportunities on such a big stage, and he put on a great fight. And I think it's just only the beginning for him. It's minor setback for a major comeback. He already has another fight scheduled,
Yeah.
so I think it only gets easier the more experience you get. You know what I mean? Just more reps on the big stage, especially you get you go across the world, and it's a lot of those different kind of factors, but it's really cool, man. We send everybody off the same. Again, we have some amateurs even fighting on a Fury card tomorrow, and pros or whatever, and they're gonna get the same kind of love and support as friggin' when we send Josh off for a title.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of the culture we've created at 4 ounce, and that's a test to all the coaches and teammates that are there. And again, we're just gonna keep brewing up and keep on building people, sending people to the UFC, and climbing the ranks.
And which fight was it during your career where you knew that this was going to be your sport? There wasn't any backing down. You can do this.
I think really the first one. I think that was a testing ground for me because I've been doing martial arts since I was 5 years old, and it finally came to the point where in Texas you have to be 18 to fight unless you're 17 and your parents sign off. And the week or week and a half after I turned 17, I had my first fight. And so I think that was a big proving ground for me. It's like, man, all this work and all this sacrifice kind of come to this moment, and that just set the ball rolling officially. And we've been rocking ever since, man.
Exactly. And what is the plan after the fight? After you go out there, you get that stoppage, get that victory. What is the first thing you do when you get back behind the stage?
I mean, the celebration is definitely going to mean a lot more after coming off a loss. It's been a minute since I've had that taste of victory in the cage. Um, just rushing to my team, rushing to my coaches, rushing to my family, my wife, my parents, my siblings, everybody, and just giving them all the big hugs. Like, yes, we did it. We're back. I've faced defeat before. It's not the first time and most likely not the last time, just with how the sport goes. And, it just makes you crave and appreciate the wins that much more. So after I get the stoppage, and continue my 100% finish rate as a pro, June 26th, it's going to feel like we're on top of the world, man. This sport really does deliver the highest of highs and lowest of lows. So enough of the lows, time to get back in the highs.
And do you think that is the one good thing about this sport is one loss doesn't kill your career? You can go back into the gym, work it out, find out what happened, and then come back a better fighter.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the most recent best examples of that is Josh losing to Charles Johnson to
Yeah,
get knocked out on the big stage. A couple weeks later, take a short notice fight. You beat the number one contender, get a title shot. Now you're the reigning defending champ. Like, it doesn't
yeah,
get more crazier than that. So it's all just about opportunities, all about being ready, staying ready, and capitalizing when you get your chance.
exactly. And do you feel like having these other competitions coming up, like Netflix, PFL with their recent signings, do you feel like that is going to keep like the UFC kind of on its toes a wee bit? Some people have been criticizing some of their recent signings, but and also you have a conversation of fighter pay. Also got Netflix, who the lowest paid fighter was paid 40K, and then you've also got PFL with their upcoming signings. Do you feel like that's going to having that competition there will just keep that UFC just thinking a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely think so. There's two sides to every coin. I think that's the very obvious and hopeful approach with everything else that's going on. I haven't heard like Scott Coker's bringing a promotion back, so
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll be big too. And but then at the same time, the UFC's so big, man. Like you hear Dana all the time in interviews, like he just doesn't care. He has so much that he was worried about. He just signed a $7 billion deal, like. So I think it's yes and no. I definitely think things will be better overall. Might not be as quick or as big as people might want, But I definitely think it steps towards the right direction overall for the betterment of the fighters and for the sport. So yeah, for sure.
And what did you make of the road to the UFC recently, just this week? I'm not sure if you've catch any of it, but the Fury FC flyweight champion, he was involved. He got the victory. He moved on to the next round. Potentially, that could see an opening in that flyweight belt.
Yeah, man. I actually did not get to watch the card. I was cutting weight with one of the guys I'm cornering tomorrow, and you know, so I was kind of occupied. But no, I mean it's good things, man. I think this sport, it's all about who's the next guy up. You know, whether
Yeah,
it's maybe a more obvious choice in a veteran or if someone who's on a hot streak and you know, they've claimed it's their time. It's all just about whose turn is next, you know? So yeah, it's exciting. Whenever the belt opens up, there's gonna be a next champion and then it just keeps on getting passed down. You definitely don't want to be known as the guy who's just like the reigning regional champ. You hopefully that's your ticket to prove yourself and try to make it to the big show.
and like you said, you are cornering this weekend. How does it feel to be cornering, becoming being part of your teammates' success as well as your own? And what do you get more nervous about, your own fights or your teammates?
Oh man, that's tough. Uh it's definitely nervous in different ways. I honestly, depending on the teammate, I get more nervous for the teammates. Should have seen me during Josh's fight, man. I was just it's a crazy rush. Um but it's cool, man. It's cool putting that coach cap on. I love coaching. I definitely think it's gonna be my full-time thing when I'm done fighting. So I love cornering fighters. You know, again, I love helping however I can and just being right there in person. I hate being like just in the crowd when my teammates are fighting because like you're there, but you can't even like help or
Yeah.
say much, you know. But you know, it helps a lot. I love it, and I definitely get probably more nervous when my team's fighting just because I have not much control over what happens.
And what has been the best experience with your coach's cap on?
I mean, probably just uh probably last experience was fun. It was we my guy that I coach, Landon Erickson, he fought at the Golden Nugget in Louisiana. And so it's a casino and just so happened that I did like my kind of bachelor party the same weekend. So it was just an awesome weekend overall. We got the win. He fought great, rode that high and just enjoyed the weekend with my groomsmen and stuff. So that was probably the best so far. Just that weekend overall was awesome.
And then we're going to be rolling that victory over on to the Fury card, June 26th. You guys do not want to miss out. You can see Mika go and get the victory, get the stoppage, and get back in that big column. Is there anything you're wanting to add or anyone you want to shout out today?
Not much, man. Thank you so much for having me. Shout out to all my amazing sponsors, my team, Four Ounce Fight Club, and you know the best is yet to come. Everything happens for a reason. Minor setback for a major comeback. So make sure you guys tune in June 26th to experience and witness the comeback. Micah Dynamite White, let's go.
Exactly. We can't wait to see you get that victory, and it's going to be a night you guys do not want to miss out on.